Accountability in the Black community, when you try to give people advice or tell people they need to hold themselves accountable, they come at you like you're attacking the Black community.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm just giving you advice. This is so detrimental to you, your kids, if you have kids out of wedlock and the man's not around. And I think Black men can, if Black men stood up and acknowledged this, it would stop. Because I think the man is the head of the household anyway.
Yeah. But I think in the Black community, I hate to admit, I think that's our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody growing up with a father is not a culture within the Black community. It's not.
It's acceptable.
Y'all probably like AT2. What the hell am I watching? Yes, we were watching. I like to call this the Raccoon Corner because Sage Steele and the Hodgetwins are definitely some well-known coons. Now, this conversation, they're talking in particular about the Black community. And it's very rich coming from these people because they'll tell you racism doesn't exist. And even in this video, the Hodgetwin goes as far as to say Blacks are more racist than whites. Y'all, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this, y'all. I want to say something. The whole Black fathers not in their children's lives, or the kids out of wedlock and stuff like that. It's a bullshit ass narrative. It's just something that they say that they like to present to make us feel devalued or less human. And how dare you say, "Oh, that's not a part of the culture to have a father." I have my father in my life. I actually was raised with my father. So that's bullshit. And these two, even though they like to say that it's not a part of the culture, was raised with their father. Now, their father unfortunately passed away. So how can you say that if you're not even a part of that issue or that problem? And they also say in this interview that they were raised around white people. Let's continue.
Yeah.
That he's not around.
Yeah. We embrace the wrong things in the Black community. As a community, we embrace the wrong things.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's genetic. I just think I've been reading about this study is called epigenetics. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's all the trauma your parents go through is actually passed down to you genetically.
Yeah. And what's that quote? You are your the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That rings so true.
Yeah, all your trauma your parents went through, it's passed down to you.
Yeah.
Because that's what you've been shown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see one way, even though you might, that's the way that you've been brought up or you're living, even though you hear about it over here. Mm-hmm. But this is all that you are able to witness. And that's what you're living. So it almost seems like it's untouchable.
Yeah.
To some.
In Black culture, you're raised not to be white.
Not to act
white, not to be white. Or they call you whitewash. Like being white is a horrible thing.
In the Black community.
Yeah.
To act white.
So, the mixed Black kid shares the same or similarities with the Black suburban kid. And yes, I'm the Black suburban kid. We share similarities as far as like not being able to fit in or feeling like, okay, I'm not Black enough for the Black kids, or I'm not white enough for the white kids, or I can't really fit in. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. If I talk proper or I articulate myself a certain way, I'm called sounding white. It's stuff that you go through as a child, and eventually you grow out of that. These people have not grown out of that. When you travel the country and see the world and you mingle with different people, let me just be more particular about it. When you mingle with different Black people from all across America, like you figure out like, oh, we're all not the same, but we share a culture. We share a foundation with each other. And that's what makes us unique. But again, you grow out of that whole, oh, Black people don't accept me, they don't like me. You grow out of that shit. These people have not grown out of it.
Meaning?
civilized.
not have kids out of wedlock?
Yeah.
To be present as a father? Is that what, like?
Yeah. Like I heard this statement, you act white. Well, what is acting black?
Yeah.
But they don't call out all the detrimental behaviors you see from people who act.
But y'all just said having babies out of wedlock and not being there for their children is a black thing. So you know what acting black is according to y'all, right?
Black.
Yeah. When you push back and ask that question in reverse, well, what is acting black?
Yeah.
That's when they get violent.
They don't have an answer.
They don't.
They attack you, either verbally or physically. But I've seen debates where you see conservatives, Republicans. Nowadays, I would say Democrats is like pretty straight, moderate. And when you ever see them talking to a person that's black and liberal, it's like talking to a 14-year-old. It's like they
talk down. They
never matured past age 14. Like look at
politically,
politically, they don't even behave like adults. Like perfect example, look at that one congresswoman in Texas, Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett.
The way she talks, it sounds like the black girls I grew up when I was like 12, 13 years old. Is just school, ratchet and ghetto, but the black community, they don't call it out. They champion her behavior.
Yeah, they embrace it.
Mind you, Jasmine Crockett is a whole lawyer, highly educated. She went to private school. She's actually a PK and preacher's kid. So again, they love to talk about, especially Republicans, love to talk, oh, look, she talked this way and da-da-da-da-da. They call her Shanae or Shaniqua, hood rat and all this other shit. But her wisdom, her brain is so much better than theirs, but they can't handle that. And again, Black people know how to code switch. So yeah, she talks one way with certain people and another way with a different group of people. But what I can tell you is that no matter what Jasmine Crockett you get, you know, as far as the way that she talks, she's the same person. Like, come on now.
Yeah. Did you see what Charlemagne the God said the other day? He said she is the best voice, the best representative
he did
in the Democratic Party, and they are not using her like they should. She basically is the face that we should be promoting and uplifting and it's speaking for us. And I thought,
that is
for someone, he's a smart guy. And for him to say that, it makes zero sense.
He says smart things from time to time, but I think he's an idiot.
Now, I will agree with that one. Yeah, Charlemagne is definitely an idiot. That's probably the only thing I'm going to agree with this whole show.
For the most part. For you to come out and say that as a man about Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, she's the absolute worst.
If that's the typical attitude a Black woman has, Black women, that would destroy Black women as a community.
You know what the sad thing is? They don't even realize it. I don't think they can see it. That's why I think they're a lost cause.
When you say they, who's a lost cause?
Black people as a whole. Not every Black person, but majority of us, they think that way.
You know what helped us a lot?
You can take a magnifying glass and show them, they won't be able to see this. Like, see this?
I think they see it. It's a refusal to acknowledge it. Because when you acknowledge something, you have to do something about it. And it's really hard to then do something about it because it's what? It's uncomfortable conversations and looking in the mirror and having accountability.
I used to think that way, but that's being optimistic.
You know what helped us?
I don't think they even see it.
You know what helped us? When we grew up, we didn't grow up in a Black community. We grew up in a poor white community. And I think my mom and dad did that by design. Because when we grew up in Martinsville, I would say 80% of the Black people lived on the west side of town. And it was also where all the crime was at. When we moved, we grew up, when we was about 5 or 6 years old, we lived in Leatherwood, Virginia, but then we moved to Martinsville, Virginia on the white side of town. And we was exposed to white people. We had white friends. We didn't just have Black friends. Everything wasn't just Black culture, Black this. We was able to see both sides.
And my dad was one of the whitest Black men on this planet.
He
used to listen to bluegrass. He used to listen to bluegrass country music with the banjos and shit.
It's so crazy because remember I was talking about the suburban black kid shares similarities or certain experiences with the biracial kid. Their dad is actually biracial. And they say it later on in this interview that he's actually biracial. He's not, full white, but they'll reference him like, oh, he's a white man or something like that. So it's crazy because technically they were raised with two black parents, but this is how they turned out. And I don't think parents realize that, as far as, and I'm not saying that, oh, you should only put your kids in the black schools. I'm not saying that, right? But I don't think they realize that when you go into a situation, you're not prepared, and you just come out and be like, okay, well, this was my experience growing up as an adolescent. It shapes you for the rest of your life. So now I kind of understand why they do the cooning. But these dudes, I believe they're in their 50s now. They should know better, right? But again, that childhood trauma, they went through that, and this is why they turned out the way they did.
Yeah.
He loved that.
He loved NASCAR. He was really pale. He had blue eyes.
Yeah.
His hair was.
That's where you get
He
it.
had dog
epigenetics
fur for hair. Yeah.
Epigenetics. That shit was downloaded from my father to me.
Yeah. So, but we was able to see both sides. And I remember at a young age, like 9, 10 years old, I remember I was on the black side of town, and it was the first time I ever had a gun put to my face. And at that early age, I was like, man, I don't even like coming over here. I'd rather stay over here and be called the N-word than to go over here, which is weird.
Yeah. I couldn't put I noticed when I was in a black community, I just didn't felt right, but I didn't know what it was. Well, and you can't really call that being a black man being racist. Just, I noticed the cultures between black and white. Even you take the neighborhood I lived in, a lot of those people were like racist.
Yeah.
But why didn't you feel right? Like, so you were more comfortable over in the white neighborhoods, even though they called you the N-word, but when it came to the blacks, you didn't feel comfortable. Why not? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why didn't you feel comfortable over there? Now, they tell a story about he had a gun pulled out on him. Okay, I can see that. But that one situation scared you for the rest of your life. That's just like a Karen saying that, a black man was aggressive with her and now she can't stand black men. Like, it's the same kind of analogy almost.
But the culture between whites and blacks is like, it's such a stark difference. It gave me an opportunity to see things from both sides. And then my father being as white as he was, and then my mom, she was like, the typical black woman. She loved Democrats. That's all she talked about was Bill Clinton. She loved us some Bill Clinton.
Notice how they talk about their mom. Oh, she's the typical black woman. And their dad, even though the dad is black, they be all like, oh yeah, well, he was white. He was very fair skinned, blue eyes, everything. Even the way they talk about their mom is almost like, oh yeah, she's the typical black. She voted for Bill Clinton or she loved Bill Clinton. Notice that. Pay attention to that.
She loved Obama.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I lost my dad at an early age. But a lot of his politics and the things that align with him, I was able to get that from his brother, who was still living, his youngest brother, and my cousin told me the craziest shit about his father, because I heard these same things from my mother about our father. I sat down with my cousin. He said, "Man, that is the most racist black man I've ever seen in my life."
His dad. Yeah. But his dad and my dad were, of course, brothers. They were that's my first cousin. And they got along so good.
Yeah.
But they look like Mexicans. Like my dad and my other, they was like, they're black, but they're like biracial.
So what's interesting is that kind of like my thought that I was having was that, oh, you learned this from your dad, but your dad passed away. So you actually learned it from your uncle. And so some of that same ignorance, or not some of it, all of it carried over to you. And this is why you guys are the way you are. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, we get it.
They look more Mexican than anything.
Yeah.
Do you think
A
it
lot of
was
people say
different
that
for you
about
and you
mixed
felt
people.
different when
They
you were
were
on the
mixed
black
people.
side of the tracks because of how light skinned you are with the
Well,
light
they would
eyes?
call that out. They would say we were not
Yeah.
black. He said black people don't have green blue eyes. They
Yeah.
would say that.
Yeah.
I remember I was in boot camp and we got into this argument. This black recruiter, I said, "So what are you?" And I was like, "I'm black." He's like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
And then there was this white recruit beside me. He said, "Yes, he is. Look at him. Look at his hair." So that was bickering back and forth. He said, "But black people don't have blue eyes or whatever."
Yeah.
And then I took my shirt off. He said, "Look, he's sunburned."
Right.
Because my
Oh
whole
my
back was red. I was impressed. He said, "Black people don't turn red in the sun."
And you know what's funny? My whole life, black people never accepted me. They never said I was black. Never, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I come out as Republican, oh, you're a sellout.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
isn't
Now
it
all of a sudden I'm black.
hysterical?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
You know, there's another conversation that we don't really have is the whole white passing thing. To me, the Hodge twins aren't white passing, and I don't get that they're multiracial in the way of like, oh wait, you can't really pinpoint what they are. Now they are very light skinned, but when I see them are two niggas. Like, I'm sorry to shock y'all, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Even with Sage is biracial. That's a nigga. Like, I don't get nothing else. You know, a couple of nigga coons, but they look black to me. Like, they don't give me, oh, what are you? Or you're exotic. They don't give me that. I'm sorry. Let me know in the comments section.
When people say black people can't be racist.
Oh, black people can be some vile, disgusting racists.
Yeah.
I think black people can be more racist than whites.
Here we go.
Tell you the
You
truth.
felt it. You guys have felt it. And
I've seen it
especially,
from
I
both
think it's
sides.
interesting because of your upbringing where you were basically living in both communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that you said you'd rather stay with the racist white people who called you the N-word
Mm-hmm.
than black people because of the violence.
Because of us. I remember about 12, 13 years old, we'd always play basketball on the weekends on the white side of town. And
So you could win, right?
well, the black kids would come over, the good black kids would come over, and they would just whoop our ass anyway. But anyway, I remember my friend says, "Hey man, let's go in the West End, let's play over there. There's more hoops, there's more players, right?" I was like, "I don't want to go over there." He's like, "Why you never want to go over there?" I said, "There's too many black people over there." And my black friends started dying laughing.
Hold on, they cut something out. That was like a hard splice right there. They cut something out right there.
They thought it was the funniest thing they ever heard. I said, "No, man, I got guns pulled on me over there." I was like, "I don't want to go over there."
Got a gun put on by a player on our basketball team.
Why?
So I looked up the demographic of Martinsville while the video was playing, and basically it's not a low income area, but the medium is about 29,000. Income is about 29,000, right? So, well, technically, yeah, that would be lower income, right? But also the demographic is about 44% black, 41% white, and then everything in between, right? So it's about a 50-50 split between the two. But the fact that they didn't want to go on the other side of the tracks, as you would say, to the black neighborhood because they were worried about what was going on or what was going to happen to them because all they seen was violence. But knowing that, where were your parents during this time? Like, they didn't have these kind of conversations with you. They didn't let you know, like, hey, well, you know, this is the hood, this is the bad area, but this is not all black people. Because almost like this, we can't blanket all white people as racist, but when it comes to all the negative stereotypes of black people, especially the Hodge twins, love to blanket all black people as one way. Oh, they don't know how to have fathers in the home. Oh, they say if you do the right thing or you do right, oh, that means that you want to be white or it's a bad thing to be white. And the thing about that is, okay, you're saying that black people don't want to be white, but having a job isn't white. Having a home isn't white. Having good credit isn't white. Being smart, educated, articulate isn't being white. That's just a part of life. So saying that black people are afraid to be white, and this is why, you know, we're impoverished and all this other bullshit, right? It's BS. It's BS. Because you're saying that, oh, we don't want to do better because we don't want to be associated with being white. So are we saying that every white person is doing well? Every white person is successful? Yeah, they sound stupid. But anyway, you guys, let me know if you guys want me to do a review on this whole video. Again, this was a lot, but I just kind of wanted to play this part because I had this conversation last week about, you know, with Black kids in the suburbs, we kind of share similarities with the biracial kids on trying to fit in and how to, you know, navigate, because our parents didn't necessarily understand that, okay, we're probably going to have to deal with some BS from the white kids and the Black kids. But all they were thinking about is that I want to move you out the hood. I want to put you in a better school system, better education. And this is what it's about. Get your education. Who cares about having friends or doing this and that? You're here to get your education. And this is why we worked hard to put you in a better environment. But that doesn't mean that you still ain't going to go through some bullshit. But again, you guys, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. This is an interesting conversation. Please let me know, like I said, if you want me to do another video on this, or if I should do a live show where I can have people call in and we can talk to the Black suburban kids, you know? Let's unite. Anyway, you guys, don't forget about the meetup April 10th through the 12th in Vegas. I can't wait to see and meet all my AT tubers. Thank y'all for watching the video, but we out. Deuces, everybody.